Ever get that feeling? You're talking to someone and something just feels off. Like you're walking on eggshells, not quite sure what to say.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there. It's that feeling in the pit of your stomach, like a little alarm bell going off.
Exactly. And it turns out there might be some sneaky communication tactics at play that we're totally unaware of. We're doing a deep dive today into an article all about manipulative communication. Think of it as a self-defense course for your conversations, getting you ready to face any conversational curveball.
I love that because honestly, once you can spot these tactics, it's like you've got the superpower. You can protect yourself and handle those tricky conversations with so much more confidence.
Right. Knowledge is power. So should we just jump right in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with one that I'm sure we've all experienced at some point. Inconsistent communication. You know the drill, you're left hanging, staring at your phone, wondering why they haven't texted back, but then suddenly, bam, they need something and they need it now.
Oh, tell me about it. The classic disappearing act, followed by the expectation of immediate attention. It's like, my time isn't as important as yours, I guess. And the thing is, it's often a deliberate strategy to keep you off balance.
So it's really about control.
100%. When someone's communication is inconsistent, it creates this anxiety in us, this constant wondering of where do I stand? And when we're feeling a little unsure of ourselves, we're much more vulnerable to being manipulated, unfortunately.
It's like they're trying to keep you on edge, so you're more likely to give in to their demands. Okay, so how do we deal with this? What can you actually say or do when someone is playing this inconsistent communication game with you?
The article had some great advice, very practical. First and foremost, set those boundaries. You are not obligated to respond instantly, no matter how urgent they make their requests seem.
Right, set boundaries, I get it, but how? What if you're a people pleaser and really struggle to say no?
I hear you. It's tough. But even something as simple as, hey, saw your message and I'll get back to you when I have a chance to look into that, can make a difference.
Yeah.
You're acknowledging them without dropping everything to cater to their schedule.
I like that. It's firm, but not aggressive. It's like, I see you, but I'm not playing your game.
Exactly. And if you're feeling brave, you can even try a little mirroring. If they take their sweet time to respond to your messages, don't drop everything and answer them the second they decide to reappear.
Ooh, a little taste of their own medicine. I kind of like it.
It's not about being vindictive. It's about subtly demonstrating that your time is valuable too.
It's about taking back some of that control and not letting them dictate the terms of the exchange. So, okay, we've officially unmasked inconsistent communication. This is just the tip of the iceberg, though, right? What other sneaky tactics are out there?
Oh, we've got plenty more to unpack. And the next one is a real conversation killer, controlling the narrative. It's exhausting to deal with.
Oof, yeah. It's like being stuck in a conversation where you can't even get a word in edgewise.
Exactly. You're just along for the ride. They steer the conversation toward their interests, their stories, their opinions. You try to contribute, and it's like talking to a brick wall.
The worst is when you try to bring up something you want to talk about and they just completely redirect it back to themselves. So frustrating.
Well, it's designed to be that way. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
This tactic is about them maintaining a sense of power, of dominance in the conversation.
So how do you actually take back some control in those situations? Because honestly, sometimes people just get carried away with themselves. Maybe they don't even realize they're doing it, right?
You're right. It's not always malicious. But intentional or not, it's important to assert yourself.
Okay. Easier said than done. Not all of us are super confrontational, you know.
Oh, for sure. You don't have to make it a huge deal. The article suggested starting subtly. Like, try to gently steer the conversation back to the point you were trying to make. Let's say, for example, you're trying to discuss a project at work, and they just keep bringing it back to their weekend plans. Just a simple, hey, I definitely want to hear more about your weekend, but I'm a little pressed for time on this project. Could we circle back?
I like it. Sets a boundary, but in a nice way.
Right. And if being subtle doesn't seem to be working, it's okay to be a little more direct. You could say something like, hey, I've noticed we haven't really had a chance to discuss what I wanted to bring up. Would it be all right to shift gears for a bit?
I love that you're actually giving us the words to use. Like, here's your script for those awkward moments. But what if they still just try to bulldoze right over you?
Well, that's where you have to decide how much you're willing to tolerate. Sometimes, yeah, you might just need to be more assertive and set a firm boundary. If that means excusing yourself from the conversation, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Remember, you deserve to be heard in conversations, not just spoken at.
So true. Okay, so we've covered inconsistent communication and now controlling the narrative. Those are two tactics that can definitely leave you feeling pretty drained emotionally. And speaking of emotional manipulation, let's talk about one that can feel like a real roller coaster. Hot and cold behavior. Have you ever dealt with this one? It's like you're on this emotional roller coaster, but you didn't even buy a ticket.
And it's not the fun kind of roller coaster either. One minute it's all sunshine and roses, they're showering you with attention, then bam, the next, you're invisible. It's unpredictable. And it can leave you feeling so insecure, questioning everything.
Totally. You start thinking, what did I do? How do I get back to that good place? It's like you're always chasing their approval.
You're right on the money. That's the trap. This whole cycle of hot and cold, it keeps you hooked, makes you crave their attention even more when they go back.
So how do we get off this roller coaster? Seriously, who needs that kind of drama in their life?
The key is, well, it's consistency. But here's the kicker. It's your consistency, not theirs. You can't play their game.
So wait, if they're being distant, I shouldn't like chase them down or try to shower them with attention, hoping for a reaction.
Exactly. Resist the urge. Stay consistent with your own emotions, no matter what they're doing. Stay calm, respond rationally. It's tough, but you've got to try not to let their actions dictate yours.
So it's really about taking back control, not letting them call the shots, emotionally speaking, right?
Yes. And you know what else can really help? Surround yourself with people who get it, who are consistently respectful, and who communicate in a healthy way. When you have those good examples in your life, you're less likely to put up with this hot and cold nonsense.
It's about raising your standards. Okay, so we've officially tossed hot and cold behavior off the roller coaster. Ready to tackle the final and possibly the most unsettling tactic on our list.
Hit me with it.
Gaslighting.
That one sounds kind of scary, to be honest. For those who might not be familiar, can you give us the rundown? Okay, picture this. You're talking to someone, and they say something that totally contradicts your memory of what happened. But they're so convincing, you start to doubt yourself, maybe even your sanity, like, am I losing it? That, my friends, is gaslighting in action.
So they're essentially creating a false reality, and you start to question your own version of reality.
Exactly. And it can be so damaging because it makes you question your own judgment, erodes your confidence over time. You start second-guessing yourself, constantly wondering if you're just being too sensitive.
That's awful, and it can really mess with your head. What are some telltale signs that someone might be gaslighting you?
Well, one thing is you might feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells around this person. You might find yourself apologizing all the time, even when you haven't done anything wrong. Or maybe you start questioning your own memory a lot, feeling generally confused and unsure in the relationship. Those are red flags.
Those are really good things to look out for. So what can you do if you think you're being gaslighted?
First of all, and I can't stress this enough, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't let anyone invalidate your experiences or tell you you're imagining things.
Our instincts are usually right.
They are. Also, keeping a record of things can be really helpful, whether it's journaling, saving texts, or even just voice memos to yourself. It might seem weird, but having that documentation can help ground you if someone's trying to twist things later on.
It's like having proof, right? Like, nope, this is what happened.
Exactly. And never forget, you don't have to go through this alone. Talk to someone you trust. A friend, family member, therapist. Having that support system can make a world of difference in helping you see things clearly.
Sometimes just talking it out can help you realize you're not crazy. Well, wow, we covered a lot today. From inconsistent communication, that emotional roller coaster of hot and cold behavior, all the way to gaslighting. That was some seriously sneaky stuff.
It's not always easy to spot these tactics, but like we said, knowledge really is power.
Absolutely. When you can name something, when you can see it for what it is, you can start to protect yourself. Remember, you deserve healthy relationships. You deserve to be heard, to feel safe.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
If you're questioning your reality, feeling emotionally exhausted in a relationship, it might be time to take a step back, reevaluate, and put yourself first.
Love that. And that's it for this deep dive into manipulative communication. We'll be back next time with another deep dive on another fascinating topic. Until then, stay curious and stay true to yourselves.